Let me know when it's on. All right, welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. This is a little bit of an impromptu. I want to make sure, is this showing?
It should be if it's an OBS. Just give me a second.
Sure. Bear with us, folks.
Just keep on talking.
We're getting everything set up.
You're good.
Everything's up. All right, great.
Go ahead and go.
So here we go. A quick little update here. Mari and I were enjoying our New Year's evening, and of course we did a live hangout earlier and talked about the cold weather. And most of you right now are looking at the map. We see where the coldest area is in the northern plains in the Midwest. And what's impressive is that I've got friends who live in Southwest Ohio, and they are sending me screenshots of their temperature, and it's actually colder in Dayton, Ohio. They're sitting at a -3. Now that's just a regular temperature right now. So you can see where this cold air is just dropping through and hooking through the Ohio Valley. But I just wanted to bring that up. Interesting that it's colder further south of us, which Dayton is about 6 hours southwest of us. But it is colder in Dayton than it is right now in Buffalo, New York. But anyway, looking at this map, Mari and I were, winding down for the day and came across this article here on Facebook. And basically, it's National Grid, which is our gas producer, telling us to, I'll just read here, New Yorkers in some areas of the state are being urged to turn down their heat because of a fuel shortage. Residents of 5 counties are being asked to turn their thermostats back 5 degrees, pardon me, until further notice. National Fuel's gas deliverability issue is impacting Erie, Niagara, Chautauqua. I'm still new to all these. What's this one?
Cattaraugus
and Allegheny. Now, we are in Erie County. So, which is interesting because really the Erie County and northward doesn't really get a lot of the snow. But these are, I assume, are Southtown counties?
Those are considered Southtown ski country.
Okay, so this is ski country, and they have gotten a lot of snow. They say here, we believe that the system interruption will be short-lived and that with our customers, full cooperation will be able to limit this call for reduced usage. Now, basically, they want everyone, small business and residential folks, to scale back your thermostat about 5 degrees and maintain that until further notice. What concerns me is beginning of winter and places like Erie, Pennsylvania, where they've gotten all the snow. I can only imagine they might possibly have a similar delay. I think travel conditions may not be right, and as cold as it is right now here in the Northeast and the Midwest, we've seen some mild winters the last couple of years. So this cold is just slightly below average, but it's come at such a surprise because it's been a while since it's been this cold in these parts. I think people are using more natural gas more than what they forecasted for. And, this is just the beginning. You go to places like in Alberta, they also have
Click on the map and see how cold it is out near Alberta.
Over here? Where's Alberta?
So there, that's up in Canada. We don't have the temperatures up
Right.
there, but I've seen temperature maps in Alberta as low as -36 degrees Fahrenheit.
Well, if their wind chills are
go.
-40 up here, then you can only imagine.
Yeah,
further.
I don't know. I'll have to look, but it's cold.
And another reason why we're bringing this up is, here we go, another. Now this is way colder, okay? Although temperatures are expected to rise this week, the county says it'll take days before the system is back to normal operation. On Friday, the county issued a state of emergency due to lower pressure in the natural gas system for communities south of Lacrete, Alberta. Now, the low pressure caused many natural gas customers to lose service during a cold snap that saw temperatures drop to -40.
Yeah. So these people in this county are completely without gas, and they're asking these people to go to places that have heat, family, or whatever. And I just can't imagine what their homes are going through when it comes to their plumbing systems freezing up in that temperature. They have no way to heat it or anything. And these are just starting to trickle in now over the past 2 days with this cold. And I can imagine there will be more counties coming up having this same issue.
Now, these are reports that are coming from the December 29th and December 30th. But the reason why we're bringing this up is because it was kind of odd to see this alert that Mari had received on Facebook. And, of course, the big picture kicks in with this small emergency here. We're only being asked to reduce the use of the natural gas just to assure that we don't run into a crisis type situation. But for them to come out this early in the year, and for all of you that follow this channel, we know how early in the stages we are in this solar minimum. Kind of startling, like this is kind of sobering when you really think about it. Think about this for a minute. What if? We're going to play the what if game. And this is why I wanted to come on live, because I think this type of stuff, it's popping up. We haven't seen this kind of alert since the 70s. Mari looked it up.
Not in this area, at least, in New York.
In this area, yeah. So it's been since 77 was the last time that New York issued some kind of alert like this. Not saying it doesn't happen other places, different parts of time.
I know SoCal had a natural gas shortage forecasted October for this winter because of a gas, I think there was like an explosion or some kind of leak or some kind of issue that they had. But for tracing back news articles, you can pull the one up that I pulled up from 1977. I believe it's the last link if you want to pull it up.
Well, and I'm just kind of looking over this story here in Alberta and how cold it is. If the wind chill is below negative 44 Celsius is the wind chill. So that's just brutally cold. I can't imagine losing gas to heat my house during a cold snap that was in the highs in the 20s and low in the single digits, let alone negative 38 Celsius. This is scary stuff to me because we have to start figuring out ways of, it says it's going to affect 12,000 people that live in this remote area, but this is just a small area.
Well, when we discuss like prepping for something like this, that's what we want to sort of start figuring out. How do you say our natural gas went out? We don't have a wood burning fireplace or something. What would one do if the gas is out and it's freezing outside?
Right.
How do you forge through that? And I think that's what we're going to be sharing ideas with on our discussion boards.
Well, and we were told earlier in the year that it was going to get cold up here in the Northeast. I don't think we realized that when some say cold, we were thinking like, low 30s, mid 20s. But this snap that we've had here in the last 2 weeks is just unreal. And Mari went through and found some older stories. Here's one from 1977 talking about the gas shortage. The extreme shortage of natural gas has idled thousands of workers across the eastern United States as worsened yesterday. It goes on to talk about how many employees were affected by this. Cuts were reduced to 20,000 employees because they couldn't. Wow.
I was reading in another article as well, there are a lot of power plants that are use natural gas to create electricity as well, which I thought was interesting. I never even thought about that, and I guess that is pretty popular in New York, so I'm wondering what effect that has as well. I know there's a few nuclear power plants, and then we have Niagara Falls generating power, that kind of stuff, so it's sort of, I'm going to have to research that.
So it looks like that people were out of work Meanwhile, 6,000 workers in 2 Chevrolet plants in nearby Talawanda remain off the job, and many smaller factories and public buildings were closed.
That was back in 77.
77, yeah. So the shortage, now this is a shortage. Now, right now, they're looking at it as, look, we're flirting with a shortage, I think. That's why they're throwing this alert. If we don't conserve our usage here, we could be looking at a crisis, especially if the weather continues to get colder. As I said earlier today, the pattern looks like it's going to stay this cold, and maybe by late January we could see even colder snap come to the region in the Northeast and the Midwest like we're seeing right now.
The press release that I read, they said for the larger natural gas consumers, I'm believing commercial users, they're asking to cut back as much as 25%, and they're asking small commercial and residential to just cut back 5 degrees on the thermostat. So, which is, it's a decent amount.
This is incredible.
5 degrees.
So many people, they were let go or laid off. The work was missed due to this shortage. So, and it was affecting places in Pennsylvania and Ohio and Michigan, New Jersey. And, and this goes back to the graph that you brought up for me too, Mari. Looking here in the 70s, where we had this shortage of gas, we also had a lower activity of sunspots right around into that period. And most people that lived up here in the Northeast in 1977 through 79, you saw some of the worst, brutalest winters that you probably have remembered in a long time. So definitely a correlation of, I think, it's just about the demand right now. It's not that we're running out of natural gas, but the demand is so high because of how cold it is right now. And I don't think anybody up here is like complaining and being a bunch of babies about it, but people who, let's just say, for instance, just for the sake of keeping your pipes from exploding, you have to keep your heat on at a certain level right now. So now you've got the gas company asking you to dial back your thermostat 5 degrees, but maybe you turned it up an extra 5 to help keep up with the temperature drop here.
Well, I mean, we have had our heat consumption go up just to keep the pipes warm.
That's what I was saying. Just preventative maintenance right now is going to force us to either insulate our houses better.
I don't have access to the chat, by the way. My phone just died. So
that's okay. That's okay.
In case people in the chat are wondering where Mari went, I disappeared.
Here it is. I got you up here.
Oh,
Something
okay,
with the
good.
keyboard. There you go.
Yeah,
there you go, darling.
I'll still the keyboard. Thanks, Jake.
Mari is switching over to the Grand Solar Minimum account now. Her phone died, so.
Click that right there, like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like
there you go.
Jake. There we go. We love live shows.
Right.
There we go.
So, anyway, just wanted to do a quick little update here, and we thought that it was significant to talk about. And Morgan says, run oven and open cabinets.
Yeah, we had to open the cabinets today, and I have a house rental that it's like a vacation rental, and I have a frozen pipe going to the kitchen faucet, which was surprising because I've never had that issue in the house before, but we turned the heat up and opened the cabinets. So I got to go over there actually now and check.
Yeah, and the unfortunate part about the run the oven is, like I said, we just got this alert where they want us to cut back.
Yeah.
So that concerns me. Like I said, we're going to see colder days. It's only the beginning. And also to comment on the beginning, solar cycle 25 coming up in 2019, and this is only the tip. So if this is going to be a cold winter, like it's showing so far, and the pattern is to trend colder each year, guys, I don't care if it's only 8 to 9 degrees difference a year. As far as like, I remember the coldest we got was -5, and then the next year, we got a couple days in the minus teens, and then how far does this dip? The year that we had the polar vortex was also the maximum. The peak year, the maximum, 2014. So still a lot of things we got to look at. We got to make sure that we're giving out correct information. But yeah, just looking at this map again, the wind chills. Look, minus 10 was what the wind chill was 2 days ago. And I was outside trying to lock a building. And 5 minutes at a time, I had to come back to the car and warm up because my face was stinging. My hands were stinging, and I was having an issue with the lock. So, it doesn't take long, and that's just at minus 10. There are folks dealing with minus 40 below 0 Fahrenheit wind chills tonight, okay? Which means the air temperature is probably somewhere in the minus 20 area. Space heaters, be careful with space heaters. You really, really, really have to be careful. There's a lot of stories out there. I would buy a space heater that has the limit switch at the bottom. That way, if it falls over, the space heater will turn off. A lot of these older ones that have the filaments that light up, someone accidentally throws a blanket on it. Next thing you know, it ignites. I think those are highly dangerous. I really wouldn't recommend...
Also, just safety issues with using extension cords and all that stuff.
Yeah, don't plug in. I also learned that you have to use 14 gauge wire. If you do use an extension cord, you're only supposed to use up to 8 feet and 14 gauge wire. So, but
fire hazard.
I don't even want to flirt with the idea of a extension cord and a space heater. That's a good way to start a fire. That's very classic, common there, not to do. But I wouldn't use a space heater unless it had the limit switch on the bottom. So if somebody knocked it over, it shuts off. It doesn't come back on until its limit switch has been depressed all the way. Folks that have fireplaces that are wood burners, God bless you. That's probably going to be the best way. And mine is electric temperature control, yeah. I guess it's time we start dressing for the weather. Start wearing layers. I know here in our house we have sweatpants and sweatshirts and long socks on. Our household, we try to keep the thermos at 72 right now, and so far that's okay. It's not great. It's not toasty. It's not comfortable, but it's not freezing. So, but another thing that brings concern for me is that we're already getting some pretty extreme cold weather early on in 2018, obviously. But animals, guys, bring those pets inside. This is no kind of weather for your pets to be outside for more than 5 minutes at a time, if that, just to go to the bathroom and get back in the house.
Yeah, our next door neighbor, a few houses down,
Awful.
with their dog outside, and he's bellowing.
And it's a pit.
Awful.
So he's got very thin, coarse hair. Oh, he's a okay.
Big
guy. But that coarse hair is not enough to keep you warm. And right now the wind chill reads -6. But with the gust out there, I bet you we're in the teens.
There's that little tabby cat that runs a few houses down. The poor thing is freezing.
So get these animals inside, guys. This cold weather. I mean, look at the wind chills all the way down in Texas. San Antonio, you're right about 23 degrees on your wind chill. San Antonio. I mean, Houston's 28 degrees wind chill. And there's a wind chill in Tampa right now of 35 degrees. 26 near Jacksonville. This is insane. I don't care if this only lasts for a week. Impressive cold weather in the first half of this winter. And I don't remember seeing this many cold temperatures in the United States at one time. And look, I understand we've had a lot of years of warming, many years of surplus temperatures every year, gaining more temperature globally. That's over. And I'm not just saying that because we're having a cold snap here in the wintertime. This is more than probably 30 to 40% worse than I thought it was going to be as far as cold weather and how quick we got it. And we're definitely seeing some changes. There are people out there, and I know you've probably heard this too, but I've heard that global warmists are saying that the melting of the Arctic is allowing the cold air to be pushed down through Canada because the ice is melting up there, and that's why we're experiencing all this cold air. I don't know.
I don't believe a lot of the crap global warmers say.
Why try sweeping this under the rug anymore? Let's just talk about ways to get ready for it instead of trying to hide it instead of trying to kick dirt over top of it.
Well, the fact is, it's a part of a natural cycle that, the Earth has gone through, the whole universe goes through. So, why deny that? Whether you think it's hot or cold, it doesn't matter. It's a natural cycle. It's been blown way out of proportion, I think, on both sides. And that's why we have sort of stepped in with our channel to try to find the happy medium between all the sensationalist topics and discussions out there in regards to it.
Yeah.
You're reading the chat?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any actual, topic related, and right now it doesn't look like it. So, except for Morgana Mason, hot drinks, warming herbs, high-fat diet. Why do we have the high-fat diet? Fat stores heat. And that's why our bodies, we always gain that natural 10, 20 pounds in the wintertime. Not just because we're fat asses and lazy around Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Eve, but our bodies need the fuel to stay warm when the temperature starts to go down. So, absolutely. And unfortunately, you have to be careful, though, when you say high-fat diet. Obviously, you don't want to sit there and eat a jar of mayonnaise and all that good stuff. But atmospheric compression. Yeah, Pisces, good observation as well. We were talking about some of these hailstorms that were looking at over the week. And one, it looked like there was 4 feet of hailstones in the street.
Don't allow me to distract you. Okay. I'm sorry, Jake. I was just getting in the chat because I don't have...
No, I was asking you to fill in for me.
I didn't know, Jake.
I wasn't able to talk. I'm telling you, people, I'm a mess. This cold weather.
He's been sick. I gave him my cold, and actually, I got sick, and then his son got sick right after with something different. Yep. And then my daughter got sick, and just when I'm getting better, I got sick, and then just for Christmas, I gave it to Jake.
Now, I think I handled it a little better.
He's coughing.
I'm just coughing a little bit and clearing my throat a lot.
I don't have any cough drops up here. I'll have
other than that, I'm good.
I'm sorry, Jake.
That's okay. Anyway, this cold air, you would hope that the cold weather would kill off all these germs. And yes, Pisces, a very good tip. Everyone should also do this. Check your filters. I'm pretty sure we probably need to change those this month. So that is definitely going to help with the allergen and the breathing issues. I saw on the Weather Channel that they're saying that the weather and our pollution mixed them with it, that the breathing conditions here in the Buffalo area are terrible.
The allergy index was what? It was like...
Allergy is high, mold is high. For this cold too. So, yeah. So anyway, we just wanted to get on and do a quick little update and show you some concerns that it's time we start thinking about alternate heating. If we're already seeing threats of gas shortages, and this is only the beginning of a minimum, we have to start being more active in trying to find alternate heating sources. People that have wood-burning stoves or fireplaces, you're in good shape. Us that have to rely on natural gas, we're the ones that have to figure out new ways to get heat in a situation such as this. Not only could be from shortage from due of increase of demand, but let's just say what we're seeing right now in Erie, Pennsylvania. Let's say it happens all up and down of I-90. Who's to say it's not possible in the near future? Now you got highways that are shut down. Now, granted, the National Guard does a wonderful job up here removing snow, and lots of it in a short period of time. But when you have more locations that need the assistance of the National Guard, now you're starting to wear your resources thin, and that's when you start to see the delay of travel, the delay of delivering goods, and it kind of just a domino effect from there on out. But we're nowhere near that right now. But these are some things to just kind of be aware of and look at and be ready for it, and try to start thinking about more alternative resources for heating. Marty, did you want to add anything? Because you've lived here for 20 years, like I always say, but was it weird to see an alert like that about asking us to...
Yeah, I mean, it was weird to see that. The thing that makes me want to go on live and discuss it is just to plant the seed in people's heads. Like, let's think about prepping. What would you do in a situation like that? If you, say, are in Alberta and your county is out natural gas and you can't heat your home, would you be prepared for an event like that? And I'm really into the whole, the prepping, info with that. So I want to just sort of get the conversation started.
I'm going to answer a question real quick because this is a good one. I get this a lot. A lot of you folks seem to think that there are chemtrails in our atmosphere. They are not on the scale that you guys think they are. The trails that you see in the sky are due to increase of highly charged particles that are in our atmosphere due to cosmic ray increase. And now these cosmic rays are they're interacting with our current atmosphere, the particles that are already in it, and they are showing studies now that these cosmic rays are seeding our clouds. So we're seeing these spraying contrails in the sky increase because our atmospheric temperatures are dropping, and with that also more of space weather is coming into our atmosphere due to the weaker magnetosphere that happens during a solar minimum, especially during a grand solar minimum. So chemtrails, that's not really the view here at the Grand Solar Minimum channel. I'm not saying you're wrong, but we simply believe that the cloud nucleation that happens in our sky, those contrails are kind of an example of how these cosmic rays are coming into our atmosphere and seeding it and causing more cloud coverage. If anything, those contrails are adding to cloud cover in our sky. They're expanding. They're like I said, it's seeding the clouds. The particle exhaust from the jet engine allows the particles to attach more to these molecules to create these clouds. So if anything, it's not helping. If anything, the contrails are creating more coverage in the sky, which reflects more light back into space, which also deflects more TSI, warmth, all of that. So in the big picture sense of things, I know it looks like it's making you sick, or it's possible that you think that the government is geoengineering, and I promise you that if they are, it's not on the scale as big as people think it is. Trust me on that. The amount of money it takes to run a global scaled geoengineering would be just unthinkable amounts. So not saying it wouldn't happen. I'm just saying right now I really think they've got bigger fish to fry. And I don't know about you, but Earth is like a chemistry set. And if you're man and you want to play with the Earth's chemistry, I mean, just like with the human body, if you're off in one area, it's going to trigger something to happen in another area, and then it could go out of control. You could get it back in shape, or you could be chasing your tail. I don't think that there is any scientist in this world that wants to toy around with the chemistry of our planet, because our planet constantly goes through changes. And we can see this through history with the cycles, the minimums and the maximums. There's just too many things that Mother Nature does on her own that man doesn't need to be meddling with. And I
don't think, from talking to John Casey and others in the field, simply the amount it would take to see an effect would be too much financial burden for it to be worth anything. And
I'm not misinformed about whether
it's not like it doesn't exist,
or a solar shield,
we're not
or chemical ice nucleation. I'm saying I choose science, and to me this kind of sounds like comic book stuff that you listen to on late night in the Midlands. So I'm just not right now. I've got too much science evidence that proves to me that these cold epochs are caused by cycles due to sunspots and TSI. And right now there's enough to cover with that subject that I think the focus needs to stay on what we know and what we can prove, and not on speculation and possible conspiracy.
Yep.
It distorts the message. You know, we're not here to say how corrupt our government is or isn't.
And to be honest, in the end game, what matters to me is people are going to be prepared for things like power outages, heat outages. Look at Puerto Rico right now. Man, I just can't even believe the state that Puerto Rico is in. Still, I was talking to Jake about that. How many? What was the percent?
55% of the country is still without power.
Can you imagine going this long without power?
55%. So that means there's also probably a good 50% that's out without running water as well.
It's insane.
So
yeah,
there's so much out there to cover right now. But you know, as far as the chemtrail thing, I don't mind the topic, but I can tell you that grand solar minimum, the views of chemtrailing just are not there. We think it's a contrail. We think it has something to do with cloud nucleation and all the particles in our atmosphere that makes it look intense. Again, when you have the hot exhaust of these jet engines combining with the colder atmosphere, you get condensation. With condensation, it attaches itself to particles, and there is tons of particles right now in our atmosphere. So right now, I think that can, that could be enough of an explanation right now. And maybe someday we will be able to explore how big of a scale that geoengineering of the weather is. But I'm telling you right now, I think man would have a lot of audacity to try to toy with the Earth's chemistry. That's just my opinion. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Guys, just want to talk really quick about this. Just kind of food for thought. Be alert, be aware. Let's start thinking about alternative heating. It is getting cold out just this year. This is only 1 year. But the trend is already on the fastest decline that we've seen in any of these minimums. And I'm just impressed with how cold it is everywhere, all over the United States. Mari, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, because if I do, it's going to go on another half hour. So we've been trying to get off
yes,
for
we have.
15. So
everybody have a great week. I'm sure a lot of you are going back to work tomorrow. If you're not already at work, have a great week. Stay alert. Be prepared. We'll talk soon. Gas customers will lose service during a cold snap that saw temperatures drop to -40.
Yeah. So these people in this county are completely without gas, and they're asking these people to go to places that have heat, family, or whatever. And I just can't imagine what their homes are going through when it comes to their plumbing systems freezing up in that temperature. They have no way to heat it or anything. And these are just starting to trickle in now over the past 2 days with this cold. And I can imagine there will be more counties coming up having this same issue.
Now, these are reports that are coming from the December 29th and December 30th. But the reason why we're bringing this up is because it was kind of odd to see this alert that Mari had received on Facebook. And, of course, the big picture kicks in with this small emergency here. We're only being asked to reduce the use of the natural gas just to assure that we don't run into a crisis type. Let me know when it's on. All right, welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. This is a little bit of an impromptu. I want to make sure, is this showing?
It should be if it's an OBS. Just give me a second.
Sure. Bear with us, folks.
Just keep on talking.
We're getting everything set up.
You're good.
Everything's up. All right, great.
Go ahead and go.
So here we go. A quick little update here. Mari and I were enjoying our New Year's evening, and of course we did a live hangout earlier and talked about the cold weather. And most of you right now are looking at the map. We see where the coldest area is in the northern plains in the Midwest. And what's impressive is that I've got friends who live in Southwest Ohio, and they are, last couple of years, So this cold is just slightly below average, but it's come at such a surprise because it's been a while since it's been this cold in this parts. I think people are using more natural gas more than what they forecasted for. And, this is just the beginning. You go to places like in Alberta, they also have
Click on the map and see how cold it is out near Alberta.
Over here? Where's Alberta?
So there, that's up in Canada. We don't have the temperatures up
Right.
there, but I've seen temperature maps in Alberta as low as negative 36 degrees Fahrenheit.
Well, if their wind chills
you
are
go.
minus 40 up here, then you can only imagine.
Yeah,
further.
I don't know. I'll have to look, but it's cold.
And another reason why we're bringing this up is, here we go, another. Now this is way colder, okay? Although temperatures are expected to rise this week, the county says it'll take days before the system is back to normal operation. On Friday, the county issued a state of emergency due to lower pressure in the natural gas system for communities south of Lacrete, Alberta. Now, the low pressure caused many sending me screenshots of their temperature, and it's actually colder in Dayton, Ohio. They're sitting at a -3. Now, that's just a regular temperature right now. So you can see where this cold air is just dropping through and hooking through the Ohio Valley. But I just wanted to bring that up. Interesting that it's colder further south of us, which Dayton is about 6 hours southwest of us. But it is colder in Dayton than it is right now in Buffalo, New York. But anyway, looking at this map, Mari and I were, winding down for the day and came across this article here on Facebook. And basically, it's National Grid, which is our gas producer, telling us I'll just read here. New Yorkers in some areas of the state are being urged to turn down their heat because of a fuel shortage. Residents of 5 counties are being asked to turn their thermostats back 5 degrees, pardon me, until further notice. National Fuel's gas deliverability issue is impacting Erie, Niagara, Chautauqua, I'm still new to all these. What's this one?
Cattaraugus,
and Allegheny. Now, we are in Erie County. So, which is interesting because really the Erie County and northward doesn't really get a lot of the snow. But these are, I assume, are Southtown counties?
Those are considered Southtown ski country.
Okay, so this is ski
counties.
Country, and they have gotten a lot of snow. They say here, we believe that the system interruption will be short-lived and that with our customers, full cooperation will be able to limit this call for reduced usage. Now, basically, they want everyone, small business and residential folks, to scale back your thermostat about 5 degrees and maintain that until further notice. What concerns me is beginning of winter and places like Erie, Pennsylvania, where they've gotten all the snow. I can only imagine they might possibly have a similar delay. I think, travel conditions may not be right. And as cold as it is right now here in the Northeast and the Midwest, we've seen some mild winters